This is the story of our incredible journey. Many people have asked, and since we're hitting a huge milestone with subscribers, which we greatly appreciate, let's take a look back on how this all started. This was our first piece of property. That's right. This was literally a meth lab with crackheads living in it. Needless to say, Mrs. Kapper thought I was nuts, to say the least. It had a mobile home on it, which is this little one right here, and it had a double wide on it, and outbuildings that were literally in tear down condition. But it had a beautiful piece of land. It had 36 acres, butted up to a beautiful bayou, which I knew the people did not realize the potential for that outdoor activity, the hunting, the fishing, land managing, whatever you wanted to do. So I began to develop my eye for diamond in the rough pieces of property. There is the barn, what it looked like. Here's another building that we did end up tearing down. And here is a look at the double wide, which had a beautiful view out back and sat on the hill. The barn was literally in tear down condition, but we opted to try and save it. So we rolled up our sleeves and it was time to get to work. So through this process, we learned a great deal about managing land, flipping homes, fixing up homes, making repairs, cleaning up from other people's mistakes, and so on. Mrs. Kapper went to work on the home and the barn with her touches, and I went to work on the property with my land management. This picture right here, this before and after of the barn, is just one of our pinnacle successes of how you can transform a property. And this only costs like $3,000 for this rehab, but it turned out just beautiful. We just did minor facelifts on all the buildings, new garage doors, a lot of back labor. Here is the barn on an after pic. So it turned out fantastic. And just take a peek at some of the memories we made here on that rustic bayou that I knew was a diamond in the rough and had a lot of potential, but yet it was really run down and beaten up quite badly. There's my good friend Arlo from down the road. We did some work together on his farm. You could see we had some good fishing, some good fun, a lot of good memories there, and we even had our own duck hunting back on the bayou there. So it was a good time, and looking back, it was a great adventure in the beginning to our journey, which literally had only just begun. Then came time for the first tractor, the first big investment. I ended up with this 37 horse or 35 horse John Deere and started learning right away how to use the thing. I worked with farmers and friends, and I watched videos, and part of the reason I started making videos was because when I was researching this tractor, I couldn't find many good videos, especially with these the compact four-wheel drive kind of tractors that small landowners need. So after I got it, I thought, well, maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring and just try and make a few videos. The second part of my video making on YouTube was that it was just a hobby, but also kind of to document our history. And I thought it would be fun if ever anything happened to me early. The kids could always look back and pull up videos and see old Pops in his beginning. Needless to say, some of these first videos were quite humorous on my YouTube channel, but this is how we learn. And then the next upgrade came, the big John Deere. So then I traded in the 30-some horse for the brand new 4720 66 horse John Deere. I pretty much got all of my money back out of the 30 horse, and I put like 500 hours on the thing, so you could hardly go wrong there for a first use of a tractor and training lessons. But just because I had the new tractor doesn't mean my videos improved, it was still quite fun, but it was a learning curve, and that's how you learn in life. You actually go out and you pave your own way and you learn things. So then we decided it was time to not wait any longer and try to find our dream retirement property. So we did this farm here in Kentucky. It was another kind of diamond in the rough farm, and we had this small cabin built on it that the kids could stay in the cabin while we live in our dream home, which would be up on a hilltop a little bit farther back in the property. Needless to say, due to employment and travel and those kind of things, that this just didn't work out for the cabin. But we made a lot of good memories at the Kentucky cabin, and I learned a ton again about land management and machines and so forth. And part of that was this old 1952 8N tractor that I was using to bush hog the place. However, the bush hog broke free, and it could have been a bad accident. And after that, I decided it was time to bring the John Deere down and get rid of that old tractor. And so I brought the Deere down to Kentucky and went to work a little bit at a time, working on the Kentucky farm, because at the time we thought this was where we were going to live and build our future retirement home while my wife commuted to work. But since that didn't work out, we ended up selling the Kentucky farm and continued on our quest, which then brought us to Southern Illinois, to this beautiful fixer-upper farm, which was a nice farm on a dead end, another diamond in the rough, with 20 acres that we ended up having trouble with the neighbors. They had like 10 dogs, which were very bothersome. The long and the short of it is we rehabbed it, we fixed it, and we ended up flipping it and selling it. But this was another one of those diamond in the rough properties that had great potential here. It had this beautiful pond behind it. It was at the end of a dead-end road, and it was very affordable because the home was very run down. Yeah, there you can see some of the dogs that were in my food plots, which was very frustrating. So then we ended up with the next gem. This was a nice little double wide, sitting on a hill deep in the woods with a beautiful lake there with 15 acres. It was another temporary stop, but it was a place that we could have our privacy and enjoy some acreage in our backyard while we were still working towards achieving the ultimate goal of having a nice home. At this point, I definitely owed Mrs. Kapper a new home, but I also wanted a nice piece of land. So then I went to work on the property like I'm becoming accustomed to, fixed it up on the outside, fixed it up for deer hunting, even though it was only 15 acres. I turned it very nicely, and in one season I ended up harvesting 2 beautiful bucks with archery. I think this was 2015 maybe. So the long and the short of it is, while we were there, the decision was made that I wanted a new tractor, and then came the Coyote. And that's when I started getting into real tractor videos. So then the next quest began for our dream property where we could retire on and Mrs. Kapper could commute to work. We found this beautiful house in the Ozarks. It actually was a beautiful property. The house we called the Smurf house. It was built rather poorly, so it didn't have a whole lot of value, but the property was unbelievable. So our plan again was to live in this home while we built our new home and then retire there, and Mrs. Kapper could have commuted to a job in Poplar Bluff. So once again we went to work on this, and after having it for 2 years, give or take, we ended up doing the same thing, selling it because things just worked out better for us in Southern Illinois. But here's some of the footage. And fixing up the property and flipping it, because it just wasn't going to work out because the job transfer that Mrs. Kapper put in for didn't happen. She did not get selected. She was number 2. So we took, and this was a great learning property. I ended up working with the Missouri Conservation Department, and they actually paid us to create 3 new what they called wildlife openings in the woods, which were basically food plots. And they also paid for either 2 or 3 brand new watering holes, which they call wildlife scrapes. So more than half of the bill was paid for by the Conservation Department for improving our land. And at the same time, I paid the other half for them to build new roads on the property. But I went to work then on food plotting, the new openings and so forth, and it ended up being a very beautiful property. If Mrs. Kapper would have got that position, we would be in southeast, I think it was southeast Missouri today. This is where we would be right now. But the job situation just didn't work out that way. And life is short, so I wanted to continue moving forward and not waste any more time. An interesting note, at Missouri is where I developed my affinity of hate for trespassers. These guys here were nearly right in front of the home during gun deer season, which fortunately I was not there at the time. But on this property is where I started fencing off all of my properties all the way around the perimeters, gating off any access where somebody could drive a four-wheeler in or whatever. But this is where I started really disliking trespassers. So for those of you who watch my videos, you understand why I close off my properties, because of people like these. I'm starting all over again. You can see behind me. Okay, so from there we ended up finding the Illinois piece of ground that we bought. It had a mobile home on it, but in the meantime we ended up trading this piece of hunting land for the small double wide on 15 acres because we had a mortgage payment on it and didn't want to continue paying on it. So we traded for this 53 acres of hunting land, and I went to work with a friend of mine on it to fix it up. We ended up selling it. We pretty much lost a big hunk of cash on this deal, but that's just how it is sometimes. We finally got a property that we were going to build on. But here's some clips of the management we did on that property. Okay, I can see the pond liner from here. Oh, snap. I see some water. I see some water. Let's go see how deep and how good it is. Oh, I see some green too. Look at this. Look at this deep woods bonanza. Look at all the green coming up. I'll turn back on in a sec when I turn that corner there. Okay, the greens are a little bit thin, but they're coming up. And so look at this. Experiment success. And then came the property where we are on now, the beautiful Illinois farm, and that's where things just started taking off. So let's have a look at some of the YouTube activity over the last year or so. Baby, here we go. May 20th, one of my favorite times of the year. And the most expensive, but we got the big boy toys out. We're gonna finally start with the giant excavator and a giant dozer, starting on the new driveway and fixing up a few watering holes. Here we go. Look at that, he could barely fit through a little path through the woods. Yeah, baby. A little too slick, she's sliding downhill. He had to put the bucket down to help him out there. Very nice. Man, he got started right away. He's gonna drain it first, and then we're gonna fix this one up. We're gonna move it over to the left, and we're gonna make a better bank on it. It's gonna be deeper and hold more water. Seeded that down about 8-10 days ago. Here we go, he's cutting the water out. Boom, the levee breaks. Wow, look at that water draining out. So look at the dozer, 12-foot wide blade. Heading out to start the new road. All right, boys and girls, the first cut of the Kapper Dream House driveway. Going down. Pretty much day 3 of building the new road, except we had to wait about 2 weeks for the road to dry some. Oh snap, he wasn't kidding. That is one big machine up there. Fertilizer, the other coming back with oats. So Al just learned about why you got to go fast pulling the drag. He's got a nice big pile of dirt there. Now he's got to undo it. Growing pains. All right, 4-man cultipacker, here we go. Mashing down all the tiny seeds. We got about 10 different brassicas mixed in there. And the soldiers are beginning the march. The long, winding, mega green strip coming right up. And then came the nightmare of the build. We had record rains that year. It was unbelievable. July 13th. And I'm going to give you an update on things. I am just so pissed off at the weather. It's all uphill, and we're in mid-July and we're still getting 12-13 inches of rain at a time. Just ridiculous. As you can see here, everything's washed out. I haven't made videos of it, but I have clips of everything. I just keep regrading and we keep getting dumped on rain. Just asininely ridiculous. I got the whole driveway seeded with grass. A mile one side and a mile on the other side. Saturday morning, 2 weekends ago. And I kid you not, starting Saturday night we got 6 inches of rain, and then starting Sunday we got another 7 inches of rain. Blew everything out. Dissed it all yesterday. Bam, another torrential rain. Only lasted 30 minutes, but washed everything out. Look at this. Let me show you the kind of washouts we're getting. This was all seated nicely around the shed. Garbage, all washed out, ruts everywhere. So at least let's take a look at the shed. We've been rained out for 2 weeks or so, but at least we're making progress. I'll show you that. Finally have a roof on and sides on. Thank goodness. There's the very first truss being tacked down. I hear the drivers going. Just beautiful. Whew. And there's number 2 in place. This third one needs to go in between those last 2 trusses there due to the way it's spaced. Quick look at the house. She's all covered up. The house and the garage, and they're now working on that little breezeway. If I showed the front porch yet without that brace they've had on there forever.
Well, it's April 28th, 2017. We are supposed to get 6 inches of rain this weekend. It's the open concept that we had. The trusses, those are those fir, Douglas fir, and they're solid. And you know, they still ended up being less expensive than using pine and wrapping it in the cedar. All right, so we're back in the kitchen. Back there was the laundry room that we were just in. This was one of the tables that I made. And finally got it. And that's one of the lamps I made too. And that was with the cedar tree. Kept some of the roots on it. And then over to the right, the fireplace, which I know you've seen a couple of videos on that. That's seems to be working pretty darn good. That I salvaged from all the bugs and the rain and the mold. That's one of the logs that I Joe cut and I trimmed and sanded and varnished, and then another one of the big cedars. It fits up in the corner there. One of the other additions was a floor lamp that I made. This was also one cedar that was in the woods. And then this table here, this was the first table that I made. This is a coffee table. I made it to be similar to the other one. Those are cedar branches and logs. And then the wood on there is the barn wood that we brought from Kentucky. It was hand painted. It was left over in one of the homes that we bought back in Kentucky, or that was Missouri. Those were dead cedars, which I'm finding is a lot nicer to work with.
And then came the new lake project. We found a buyer for the mobile home, which covered half of the cost of the new lake, and it was game on. After about 3 or 4 hours on the first day, I just talked to the excavator. They're a little bit short on pushing that dirt back. It's got to go back farther yet. But they're broke down now. So my hydraulic All right, lines. Day 8. He's loading up dirt in the big skid pan, which I believe is going to come up here for the lawn, or backfilling back here, unless they're still adding dirt, which it looks like there's a bare spot on the pond dam back there. So now he's busting through the bottom for me so I can dig up some of the rocks that are down here. The excavator assured me there shouldn't be no problem with leaking due to the from the bottom. How's that for a rock? Well, I asked him if he could set some of them big ones up along the shore. All right, now he's trying to grab the Volkswagen rock. It's actually more like a pickup truck. And of course, it's the excavator without the thumb on it. He'll push it all the way against the tracks. Yep. Wow, look at that. I might be able to scooch it a little bit with the Bobcat, just to sneak peek, baby. This is a cheater sneak peek. It's almost live. It's May 31st, 1:26 p.m. and it is happening. Stay tuned in the next couple days to see the full video with many different angles. Right now we just popped her open. That fish pond is only quarter full, half full so far. Right, here's another sneak peek. This is one day of filling after cutting a few inches off of the dam on that existing pond. I'm going to give sneak peek updates because there's a lot of video we took for the first one, and it's going to take me a while to crunch it all together. So here's the update, early morning on June 1st. There we go, there you have it. What dedication. 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm out here. Had to see it. There's a quick look at the top side. Working near perfectly, but I'm missing some right here. I'll have to fix that, but not right now. Wow, the pipe is going mad. Look at that. Oh, we are getting wet. Look at that. Oh, the lake is filling up. That means the other side is probably running just as strong, if not stronger, filling in the top side. Okay, and here we are, November 19th, the next morning. Kind of giving you a little bit more of an early morning look at what the lake looks like. All right, here we go. I thought I heard something. See, I got a new coyote hat. Cool. Anyways, I am gonna start on my duck hunting impoundment. This is basically an overflow food plot. I never even had a stand on it. So then I started a new project that I have never done, is duck food plots, also known as duck impoundments. And when I started this project, I did not have an excavator. But at some point in between, I got the new Bobcat. Here we are. It's delivery time. Wednesday, February 15th, 3:30 p.m. I'm like a dad expecting a kid. I'm like pacing back and forth. I'm nervous, hungry, I'm thirsty, you name it. So it's like, wow, I mean, this is a huge investment. This excavator, besides the property we've ever had, is really the second biggest investment in my life. All right, baby, I hear gravel. I hear gravel. All right, man, here he comes. Wait for it. Wait for it. Right there, baby. She is, first look. Here we are, March 11th, 2017. The duck ponds worked so well that they caught me off guard and I wasn't ready. I didn't think they'd catch this much water because there shouldn't have been much runoff, just flat ground, but I was wrong, and here's why. I'm going to punch both of these open to drain them. Yeah, baby, now who's your daddy? Sounds like Niagara Falls. Wow, look at that. That's just from one, probably 3-inch rain. Yeah, this, I don't know if you saw me, but this was a shunk move. My son would call me a shunk. I drove right up to the berm and got out here and walked on it so I didn't have to like walk around. And of course, through it all, we were very fortunate in deer hunting. My son here, who we call the lucky charm, basically, was able to harvest 2 nice bucks on our 35 acres in Wisconsin. And there was actually 2 other properties that I haven't mentioned yet. He had a really nice buck in Kentucky. And then our son Aaron killed his first ever deer with an archery tackle. And my daughter killed her nicest buck ever in Kentucky. And I had some pretty good fortune in Kentucky and in Wisconsin before we left. And in Missouri, this was my biggest buck ever at the time. And then in Illinois on the 15-acre parcel, I harvested 2 really nice bucks in one season. And then when we ended up here on our really nice farm this year, I finally captured a decent video of harvesting a mature buck here, which was posted just a few weeks ago. But in the meantime, while we were all doing this, having fun, my oldest boy, Joe, was off in the Navy serving a 6-year term, and he has recently gotten out and is going to start a new life. So looking forward to seeing him stretch his wings and start a whole new segment of life. And then, of course, once I had the Bobcat, I kind of went crazy with a whole new line of excavator videos and projects to really improve our property and to have some fun along the way. Let's roll, baby. Right, I just couldn't let this rest. I have to know 2 things: how much that weighs and if I can really lift it. Truckload sale right here, boys and girls. Look at this baby. Whoa! Oh yeah, she's rolling now. Man, I'm getting almost all of my slash piles burned up at once. And then came the drone. The drone really helped to elevate the machine videos to a whole nother level. It's just been fun learning it and using it. And as you can see, the footage has been just stunning with the Phantom 4 Pro drone added to my hobby of working the land in these machines. So we settled down here in Illinois and began making some new friends. And who can forget my new good friend here, Curtis. He has a side business of land management, and I teamed up with him to have some fun. We're going to put in another watering hole. There's some pretty tall grass and weeds in here. I'm going to bush hog down first, so here we go, boys. Here we are, going for the tour. Let's see what kind of success we've had. All right, here I am with Curtis, and we haven't even started yet because it was a slow start, but we're talking reality here. So what was the chain of events here before you can even get going?
Well, first, I should have done it when I was at the house before it loaded up, but you know, as we are all, we're always busy and running constantly, so.
First shoot some fertilizer. So Curtis is just one of them guys that you are just proud to know. He is just a genuine good guy, hard worker, and we really put down some good land management videos together this summer and this fall with Curtis. And then, of course, who can forget the dump truck saga with just a little sprinkling of some Kapper sarcasm thrown in along the way. All right, so this is my fault too, that they didn't put the cover on. There's a few people out there that comment that say this is all my fault. This whole thing is all Kapper's fault. So it's my fault that I paid a dealer and he told me that he was going to do something. As a matter of fact, he gave me specific detail on how he was going to do it. I paid him to do it, and I come home and it wasn't done. So creek dry. Watering hole full. Creek dry. Watering hole full. And of course, my newest series of videos, shooting and firearm videos. I've got some new things coming and a lot of really cool ideas. And then I met Iron Mike from the YouTube channel, and he lives pretty close to me, and he helped out with the dump truck, and he helped out on a bunch of projects, and we've had some fun together. But another good guy who I met since we moved down here in Illinois. All right, well, we finished our, turned out to be like a 99-point inspection. Me and Iron Mike. What do you think about the truck overall?
Overall, it's a pretty good truck. It needs a few things done. Nothing major though. Tires, AC compressor, oil change, oil leak.
A man barely alive. We can rebuild him. We can make him better than he was. Better, stronger, faster.
And so, in closing, we just have to say a ginormous thank you to the people who have shared our journey with us on our channel. You know, we have our struggles in life. I have health issues. We have financial issues, work issues, all of the things that are very much the same as everyone else. And to wake up in the morning and go through comments from people who are supportive, who enjoy watching the journey as we are sharing it, those who share stories of their own successes and failures in life and similarities. It is just a good feeling to have that network of new friendship coming from this channel and this entire adventure. If you would have asked me 5 or 7 years ago if I would have been doing something like this, I would have said you're probably nuts. Although I have been called that over the years and much worse, but that's beside the point. Just saying a huge thank you to you guys out there, and our intention is to continue sharing our journey. And believe me, I have tons and tons of really cool and interesting ideas and projects that are on the hit list. It's just a matter of getting the energy and the time and ability to complete them. But I will bring them to you one at a time. And just thanks again. We look forward to continuing on our journey with all kinds of new video projects and adventures from the Kapper farm.